live for the next 15 minutes. Let's talk about the new trend, a very new disturbing trend affecting VAWA self-petition cases. I'm coming on here to give you all the updates real quick. For those of you applying for your green card through VAWA because you're married to a citizen or you have a citizen parent or child that is abusive and you filed a self-petition, this information is going to be very important. I want you to pay close attention because what's happening now is that VAWA applicants are getting called for interviews, which is something that never used to happen. But now you're going to be called into an interview with a group of officers who are going to evaluate your case right there and then. You have to tell your story again, pretty much make another sworn statement at that interview, right? And then after that, they're going to ask you all sorts of questions regarding how you got to know about how did you know you qualified, were you coached by an attorney or someone else? Is this because they're trying to figure out if there's fraud, especially now that people are beginning to understand their options and go for all these benefits that in the past nobody knew about, right? People ended up staying in abusive relationships and facing struggles for years without knowing that they could actually get their green card based on that relationship. Okay, so if you've been watching my lives, last Friday, I talked about how to file a VAWA self-petition, how to qualify, the type of evidence that you need. So check it out if you missed that one. But if you did not know your options about a self-petition, now is the time to actually start filing so you can have the opportunity to get your work permit and be able to stay in the U.S. Legally, even though now part of the new updates, this is a policy change actually, is that a notice to appear could be sent to you even if you have a pending self-petition on even an I-45. In the past, having a pending I-45 and a pending I-360 for your self-petition was going to be okay, right, for you to be able to just live here, work, freely. But now, while you can still live here, you may still be called into court to, for your relief, for removal proceedings, right? And if your self-petition does not get approved, you could potentially get removed at this point. So they are speeding up that process. I'm seeing it happening a lot with my clients. And then I saw this policy update. So I'm here sharing this new change with you all. There's nothing to worry about right now. Just talk to an attorney if you're not working with one right now, if you're confused about how this could affect you, because it's really scary to have to go in front of random people and talk about your entire abusive history. That's gonna be, I just don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know if there's gonna be a psychologist there or what, because they're really not trained to talk about your abuse. Like, what are they really gonna be doing? So I know this is a fraud detection um tactic, right? They're trying to essentially reduce people taking advantage of immigration benefits. But honestly, when it comes to self petitions, it is such a sensitive subject that I don't know how this is really going to work in this administration to start having interviews for VAWA. Like, in all my 9 years of doing this, I've never had anyone called for a VAWA interview before, right? It's normal for you to get called for your I-45 interview, which is your green card interview, not the I-360, the self-petition, which is solely based on your emotional abuse, financial abuse, verbal abuse. Is not anything that they can quantify, right? So you may not have police reports, but it doesn't mean that you did not experience abuse, right? And many people don't know about it. So the questions about whether, your lawyer told you about VAWA. It's like, of course, your lawyer told you about VAWA. That's why you talk to a lawyer, so you can know your options, right? Just make sure that you're sharing with your lawyer transparently about what really happened, because one of the requirements for a self-petition is actually good faith marriage. So if you don't have good faith marriage, you can't qualify for a self-petition, right? So keep that in mind when you are actually applying for your green card through an abusive marriage, right? This is still family-based immigration, y'all, but it's just a different aspect that really protects people who have been abused. Hi, Kimberly. Thank you for being here. I've just been talking passionately. I didn't see people were joining and liking. Make sure you share with your friends who are not here right now. I know it's Friday. Everyone is ready to chill. It's Easter weekend. But I really had to come on here. I'm actually on my way to a service right now because it's also Good Friday, right? So certainly wanted to make sure I got this out to you all today. We're going to start our season 2 on by next Friday. I believe it's the 10th of April. So save that date. Season 2 of our series where we're going to be talking about different immigration pathways and how to qualify, types of evidence that you need. This month we're focused on VAWA. Because of this change right now, I decided to make this month all about VAWA self-petitions because I know that many people who have pending self petitions are going to freak out with this new change. Okay, so I want to make sure you all are informed and you're able to go for all your benefits without fear and have the right support around you, right? So that's why I do these live. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll respond right now. I have a few more minutes on this drive to talk to you all. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know and I can answer. But that's pretty much the update about self petitions. I was really just so shocked to see interviews and then the way they're even going about it too. Like really just making people now, because there was this client I talked to yesterday, well, a potential client I talked to yesterday. He's been in this country since 1997, and he had been in several relationships with U.S. citizens, and some of them were severely abusive. But because he didn't know anything about self petitions, I mean, Bawa really started in '94, so he was here in '97. That was, nobody even knew anything about that. So he just went through the abuse. He ended up with a child, ended up having to become a single father. All these years now, his son is in his 20s and can file for him, but a self petition would have been a better option all those years ago for him to just avoid any removal and deportation, because with the self petition, you get the opportunity to even file a waiver for entries without a visa or any violations that you had, because the abuse and things that you have experienced in that relationship is pretty much, I mean, you have to recover and go through, you pretty much went through that because of this U.S. citizen you were married to. So they're going to consider all of that in waiving any inadmissibility, right? So a self-petition would have been his better option, but he didn't know. And now it's been 28 years, right? So there's a time limit on all these things. If you're married to a citizen and you end up filing divorce and leaving, you still have 2 years to file that self-petition. Otherwise, you miss that window. If you get married to somebody else during that time as well, you also miss that window. But if you haven't done any of these things and you're watching this live right now and you might qualify for a self-petition, you're just not sure, right? You know you're married to a citizen, you know that you've applied for a green card maybe, and it's pending, and maybe your spouse is changing, or maybe you haven't applied. Because I've talked to 2 people this past week who haven't applied, like it's been years, and the spouse certainly knew that they needed a green card because they came in as students, right? So knew they needed a green card, made them to just even stop school. One of the girls said she had to stop school because the husband was like, there's no need. Once I get your green card, you'll be fine. And now it's been 2 years. She stopped school, he didn't file, and we're here, right? So don't jeopardize your future by not taking action quickly. You need to understand what your options are to get free, get that work permit immediately. If you get placed in removal proceedings, just contact a lawyer ASAP, because you do have that option to file a 42B cancellation of removal. That will be your option to basically avoid deportation, right? So that's your relief in court if you qualify for self petition. So reach out to me. My number is going to be in the comments if you just see me for the first time. I'm Attorney Ify. I'm in Charlotte. I help clients nationwide with VAWA and other family-based cases. All right, so you can reach out to me just to talk one-on-one if you want to file, or if you already filed and you need some guidance, navigating everything there. But yeah, self petitions are becoming more strict, more just a lot of changes around that, right? So be on the lookout on this channel. If you're not subscribed, feel free to do so now so you can see whenever I go live. Tracy, what do you want me to make a video about? Thank you for joining this live. I see Shoab and Chunka. Thank you for being here, guys. Because I'm driving, I'm just basically, minding the road so I can get where I'm going safely and still give you this information. So tell me what you want me to make a video about, Tracy, and I'll make it. Right now, I'm giving updates. What I do is give updates. I go live to give updates. So if there's any special question that you have or any special requests, you can let me know. Otherwise, you can join me every Friday live. Season 2 is going to start next Friday. Today's Good Friday, so I decided to just take the day and just go to service, do other things with family, just have time for ourselves to reflect, because we need that as immigrants, to reflect on what we're actually doing here, what your purpose is here, so that you don't lose sight of it and get caught up in the wrong thing, right? If you get caught up in fraud and misrepresentation and other things that could affect your green card, then maybe you don't really know your purpose here. Like, what, because those type of things will certainly hinder your progress in the long term. So don't get entangled with stuff that will hold you back. Just get connected to the right source, specifically an attorney, not just any type of legal representative, because when it comes to self-petition specifically, a consultant is not going to be able to evaluate if you actually fully qualify and all those other evidence that is not very apparent, right? Because if you don't have a police report, most people will tell you that you don't qualify, basically, right? So, but if you talk with an attorney who's experienced, right? I've been doing this for over half a decade, right? And you basically put all that evidence together. I've had several, but most of them were actually male VAWA clients, but I've had other female ones get approved too. But male VAWA clients are very unique because they usually don't even admit to abuse, right? So once they're able to open up to someone, I remember the very first one, my very first male VAWA client was a tough one, because he had been with his spouse for 14 years at that time before he met me, and we filed self-petition. He already got approved. He's waiting for his green card right now. It did take quite a while, right? It was since 2021 that I filed that case, and he's still going through that process. It's been 4 years, right? But the timeline did change this year. It's now 40 months, thereabouts, like basically a long ass time. So just keep that in mind when you apply. Make sure you apply for your work permit with the correct category. That's another reason why you need an attorney. Because if you file with the wrong category, you're going to wait forever to get that work permit. You basically need your VAWA to be approved if you file with the wrong category. So that's very important in filing your self-petition. Make sure you file the right category for your I-485, for your I-765, which is your work permit, right? So you can get that while your I-45 and your VAWA is pending. Just file everything concurrently, and you can have a good life, because 40 months is a long time. Imagine just sitting around and waiting for 40 months and not doing anything. Some people are even still living with the abusers. That is painful. So you need freedom. You need a job to be able to move out, start your life, right? I helped one lady in California. She, till today, every time I post, she'll share it, because her and her son were able to move out. Now he's all grown up, and she was able to just reestablish her life after this man. He even brought her from Africa. So he brought her from Africa, came here and stayed weekends in her, and I was like, hell no. So now she's free. She's a citizen now. So this stuff is real, guys. Don't let this administration scare you out of your options. They want you to stay in the dark. That's the way that they keep you trapped in this mindset that they can control, right? But if you know your options truly and you go after them, nobody can control you. Nobody can hold you back. So I encourage you today to reach out to a professional, an attorney. You can have a consultation. That's the first step, typically, so you can know what your options really are with getting your green card. Or if you already filed and your spouse is not acting up, or maybe you had an interview and something is going wrong there. There's always something at the different stages of this process. So I want to talk to you one-on-one. Again, I'm Attorney Ify. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm from Nigeria, and I help clients nationwide here in Charlotte. So let's talk. I'm going to be done now. It's been 15 minutes. I hope you learned something today. If you have more comments or any suggestions that you want to make, video topics that you want to hear about, just leave them in the comments. And I'll talk to you all next Friday for episode 1 of our new series. All right. Ciao, everyone. Have a wonderful Easter weekend and stay blessed.